I never thought I'd find myself in a situation like this, but here I am trying to make some sense of what I uncovered. My name's Mark, and I've been married to Lisa for about 8 years now. We met in college, and from the start, she was the kind of girl who could talk her way out of anything. Sharp, manipulative, always with a sarcastic comment ready. At first, our marriage was pretty solid. We had a good life, a beautiful house, and I was building my career in finance, traveling a lot but generally thinking I had the perfect wife waiting at home. The real trouble started about a year ago, though. It's subtle at first, little things that don't add up. Lisa started acting a little more bitchy, snapping at me over nothing, throwing fits if I was late coming home from work, or if I didn't answer her texts immediately. I thought maybe she was just stressed or bored, or maybe I was overthinking it. But then came the odd part. She kept insisting she wanted to do something special with the house. We'd been talking about building our forever home, a place where we could finally settle in. For good. I was on board, excited at the prospect of creating something together, but I noticed she was unusually controlling about the design choices, pushing for things I didn't care much about, just to make sure I'd say yes. She kept telling me she wanted this to be our perfect sanctuary, but she was oddly resistant to certain ideas I had. Then, the delays started. Every time I had to leave town for a few days on business, she'd come up with some excuse: project delays, supply issues, contractors messing things up. I brushed it off at first, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Every trip I'd come back to find little things changed around the house: an extra curtain here, a new piece of furniture there, and Lisa acting even more bitchy, snippy, dismissive. I thought maybe she was just overwhelmed with the project, but deep down I sensed she was hiding something. One particular trip I was away for a week. When I got back, I immediately noticed the house felt different, more tense, colder somehow. That night I decided to check her phone just casually out of curiosity more than suspicion. I figured if she was cheating, I'd find something. I knew she kept her phone closed, but she was also careless sometimes, leaving it on the kitchen counter, not locking it. I had no intention of invading her privacy, but I was just curious. That's when I found the messages. There were messages from a guy named Jake, some local home builder, the guy who's been working on our house for months. They weren't just talking about the project. No, the texts were flirty, suggestive, even asterisk, sexually explicit asterisk. I couldn't believe my eyes. She was talking to him like they were already having an affair. I saw stuff where she called him honey, said she loved the way he touched her, and even mentioned meeting up after hours to discuss the house. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I could feel my face go numb, my stomach twisting. I kept reading, hoping it was some sick joke or misinterpretation, but it was. I sat there stunned, staring at the screen, trying to process what I'd just seen. My wife, Lisa, the woman I trusted with my life, was cheating on me with the guy who was supposed to build our dream home. All those delays, all those little comments about how he's the only one who really gets her, they suddenly made perfect sense. She'd been sneaking around behind my back, right under my nose, and I had no idea. I kept telling myself I must have missed signs, but the truth was, I just didn't want to see it. And now, I was left with the realization that everything I thought we built together was a lie. I sat there staring at the messages for what felt like forever, my mind racing in 1,000 directions. The anger, betrayal, and disbelief hit me all at once. How could she do this? How could she lie so blatantly, play me for a fool? It was like a punch in the stomach, but worse. You're not just hurt emotionally, you feel stupid for not seeing it coming. The woman I married, the woman I thought loved me, was sneaking around with Jake, our builder, the same guy who's supposed to be helping us create our forever home. I remember feeling this overwhelming mix of rage and sadness. Part of me wanted to confront her right then and there, to yell and demand answers. But I knew better. I had to think this through, plan what I was going to say, how I was going to handle it. The first thing that struck me was that she always had a way of lying her way out of everything. Whenever I'd catch her in a tiny fib, she'd turn it around, call me paranoid, say I was overreacting. And now I knew she'd been lying about everything, about her feelings, her fidelity, her motives. It was late at night when I finally decided I couldn't sleep without doing something. I kept thinking about all the times she'd snapped at me for my work trips, how she'd always claimed she was just stressed or busy with the house, but now I knew better. She'd been with Jake during those times. It explained the odd text messages, the late-night calls, the way she'd suddenly become more distant and bitchy when I was around. She'd been hiding this for months, maybe longer, and I was just too naive or too blind to see it. I knew I had to confront her. I couldn't keep living like this, not knowing she was cheating on me with someone I trusted to help build our future. The moment I decided to face her, my mind went into overdrive. I had to be careful. Lisa was good at twisting stories, good at making herself the victim. She'd probably deny everything, lie her ass off, and make me doubt myself. I could already hear her spinning some bullshit about how I was imagining things or overreacting, how Jake was just a friend or working for the house. But I knew the truth now, and I wasn't going to let her get away with it. The next morning, I waited until she was in the kitchen, pretending to be busy with breakfast. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my voice. I told her I found some messages on her phone that I knew about her affair with Jake. Her reaction was instant. She looked surprised, then angry, then dismissive. She said I was crazy, that I was accusing her of something without any proof. She called me paranoid, said I was overthinking everything because I was never around and she was just lonely. I didn't buy it. I told her I saw the messages, that I knew she'd been sneaking around and that I was done with her lies. She started to yell, calling me all sorts of names, possessive, insecure, unreasonable. Her voice was sharp and bitchy, like she enjoyed throwing her weight around. She said I was just a workaholic who didn't care about her feelings, that I never paid attention to her anyway. Then she threw in some classic lies, saying the messages were nothing, that Jake was just helping with the house, that I was making a mountain out of a molehill. I felt my blood boil. I could see right through her BS. She always did this, deny, 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 then spin some story that makes her look like the victim. I wanted to explode, but I held it in. I told her I was done with her bullshit and that I'd be leaving for a while. I needed to think, to process what I just learned. As I packed a bag, she kept yelling after me, calling me crazy, jealous, and possessive. But I didn't care anymore. I knew things would never be the same after this. All those years of trust gone. All those promises about building a life together, wiped away in just a few texts. And the worst part, I still had to figure out what to do next, how to face this betrayal, and how to move forward with my heart shattered into pieces. After I left the house that morning, I felt like I was walking in a fog. My mind was racing, but my body felt numb. I couldn't believe she'd lied so blatantly, so effortlessly. Lisa, the woman I loved, had been cheating on me with Jake, our builder, the guy I trusted to help create our dream home. It was a kick to the stomach I didn't see coming. I kept replaying that morning, the way she had snapped at me, the fake tears, her bitchy tone when she called me crazy. She was good at spinning stories, but I knew better now. She had been lying to my face for months. I spent the next few hours trying to calm down, but honestly, I was furious. I couldn't just sit there and accept this betrayal. I started piecing everything together. The project delays, her sudden mood swings, her excessive control over every detail of the house, all of it pointed to one thing: she was having an affair. And not just an affair, but one that had been going on for a while, possibly since the beginning of the house construction. I remembered all those nights she'd be working late, or meeting with contractors, but now I knew they were probably with Jake, in some secret room she had created. Yes, I said secret room. I found that out later, but that discovery hit me harder than anything else. During one of my trips, I'd casually checked the blueprints she had approved. Everything looked normal, but there was this one tiny detail, an extra room she never mentioned. It was hidden behind a false wall, a small door she kept locked. I thought it was just storage or some closet, but when I found the key and opened it, I saw a space that looked like a private club. A small bed, some lingerie, candles, stuff that screamed sex. It was clear she'd been sneaking Jake in there, maybe more than once. I couldn't believe she'd gone so far. The realization made me angry beyond words. How could she betray me like this? How could she lie so easily, so convincingly? And I was furious at myself. for not seeing it sooner. I kept asking myself what I could have done differently, why I was so blind, why I had trusted her even after those little signs. But then, I remembered how she always dismissed my concerns, how she played the victim when I confronted her about her mood swings, how she'd lie and say I was imagining things. Now it was all painfully clear. They'd been sneaking around the entire time. I knew I couldn't just go back home and pretend everything was okay. I had to plan my next move. I decided I'd get some space, some time to think. I booked a hotel nearby, not because I wanted to run away, but because I needed a clear head. Sitting alone that night, I kept going over everything: her lies, the texts, the secret room, the look in her eyes when she called me crazy. It all added up to one thing. Our marriage was over unless I could somehow fix it, and honestly, I didn't see that happening. I also knew I needed proof. I wanted her to own up to what she'd done, not just deny everything like she always did. I started gathering evidence. I took screenshots of the messages, took pictures of the hidden room, and even recorded her talking on the phone when she thought I wasn't listening. I wasn't planning to confront her yet. I wanted to be ready. I wanted to have all the facts, all the leverage before I said a word. I knew she'd twist it, deny it, lie her way out, but at least I'd be prepared. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that my trust had been completely shattered. What was left of it? Could it ever be repaired after this? Honestly, I wasn't sure. I just knew I couldn't stay in that house with her anymore, not after what I'd discovered. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and stupid. I kept asking myself how I got here, how I let her manipulate me for so long. And as much as I wanted to rage and break everything, I knew I had to keep my composure, at least until I had everything sorted out. The following days were a whirlwind of emotions. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, the betrayal etched deep into my mind. I kept replaying everything: her bitchy smirks, her lies, that damn secret room. I felt a burning rage inside that I struggled to contain. How could she do this? How could she lie to me for so long, act like I was the crazy one for questioning her? I knew I had to confront her again, but this time with a plan. I couldn't just blow up and yell. She'd spin it, deny everything, and I'd be back to square one. No, I needed her to admit it, to see that I had proof. I wanted her to realize I wasn't just some fool she could manipulate anymore. I'd gathered enough evidence: the screenshots, the photos of that hidden room, the recordings. I was ready. I decided I'd call her, tell her I was coming back, but I'd do it differently. I'd confront her with everything I had, make her own up to it. When I arrived at the house that evening, she was in the kitchen as if nothing had changed. Her bitchy smirk was back, her tone sharp as ever. I looked her in the eyes and laid out everything: the messages, the secret room, the recordings. I told her I knew about her affair with Jake, how long it went on, and how she'd been lying to me all along. I expected her to deny it, to break down, to plead, but instead she just looked annoyed. "Oh, for God's sake, Mark," she snapped. "You're overreacting. You're just insecure. Jake is just helping with the house. You're imagining things as usual." Her voice was icy, dismissive, like she couldn't care less. That's when I realized she was going to keep lying no matter what. She was good at twisting the truth, spinning it around until she looked innocent. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I told her I had the evidence, that I wasn't going to let her manipulate me. She scoffed, took a step closer, and rolled her eyes. "You're so paranoid. You always think the worst. Maybe I should just leave you if you're going to accuse me of something like this." Her tone was bitchy, almost amused, like she was enjoying the power she had over me. I felt my blood boil. The woman I loved, the woman I married, was nothing but a lying, cheating bitch who was more interested in her secret sex life than in our marriage. I told her she could lie all she wanted, but I was done. I was filing for divorce. I couldn't stay married to someone so manipulative, so dishonest. She looked stunned for a moment, then her bitchy attitude resurfaced. She started yelling, calling me crazy, possessive, and paranoid. She accused me of trying to control her, of being jealous for no reason. I knew this was her typical tactic: deflect, deny, and make me the bad guy. I left that night feeling empty, betrayed, and exhausted. But deep down, I also felt a strange sense of relief. I'd finally seen the truth. No more lies, no more pretending. I knew I had to get out of this toxic mess. I spent the next few days talking to a lawyer, figuring out what my next steps would be. I knew she'd fight me on everything, especially since she was so good at spinning stories. But I had the proof now, and I wasn't going to let her ruin me. That whole experience left me shaken, but it also taught me something important. Trust is fragile, and once it's broken, it's almost impossible to repair. I realized I'd been blind, that I'd let her manipulate me for too long. I also learned that some people, like Lisa, are masters at hiding their true selves behind a bitchy smile and a string of lies. Moving forward, I had to rebuild my life, piece by piece, and learn how to protect myself from people who only care about themselves. Honestly, I don't know what the future holds, but I do know one thing. I'll never ignore the signs again. The divorce process was a roller coaster I wasn't prepared for. Lisa was relentless. She fought every step of the way, trying to spin her version of everything, claiming I was overreacting, that she still loved me, that it was all a misunderstanding. She called me paranoid and possessive, which, to be honest, made me laugh bitterly. She was good at pretending to be the victim, but I knew better. I had the evidence. I knew exactly what she was capable of. In the end, the courts granted me the divorce, though it took months of back and forth, legal filings, and endless arguments. I kept my distance from her, focusing on rebuilding my life. I moved out of the house into a small apartment nearby and tried to forget the nightmare I'd been living. The thing that hurt the most was knowing I'd been blind to her manipulations, that I'd trusted someone who didn't deserve that trust. The betrayal cut deep, but I also felt a strange sense of liberation. I was finally free from her bullshit. During those months, I spent a lot of time reflecting on everything, what I missed, what I learned, and how I'd been played. I realized that I'd been giving her too much power for too long, ignoring the red flags. I also saw how her bitchy attitude was just a mask for her guilt and her inability to face her own actions. She still tried to contact me, sending me fake apologies and pretending she was genuinely sorry, but I blocked her on everything. I didn't want to hear her lies anymore. I also started to rebuild my confidence. I threw myself into my work, started hitting the gym again, and even went on a few dates. It's not like I was looking for anything serious right away, but I needed to remind myself that I was still a good person, still worth loving. The whole experience taught me a lot about trust, boundaries, and recognizing red flags early. I wish I'd seen it sooner, but at least now I know what to look out for. Looking back, I feel a mix of anger, sadness, and relief. Anger at how she betrayed me, sadness for the years we lost, and relief that I finally saw the truth. I learned that some people are much better at hiding who they really are. Lisa was a master of manipulation, and her bitchy attitude was just a defense mechanism. Now I'm wiser. I know I won't settle for someone who lies and cheats, no matter how convincing they might seem. I've come to accept that sometimes you have to lose everything to find yourself again. If there's one thing I want to tell others out there, it's this: trust your gut. Don't ignore the warning signs, no matter how small. If someone shows you they're dishonest, walk away before it's too late. And don't let anyone make you feel crazy for questioning them. You deserve honesty and respect. Anything less is not worth your time. I'm still healing, still picking up the pieces, but I know I'll be okay. And someday I'll find someone who truly deserves my trust and love. Until then, I'll keep moving forward stronger than ever. Looking back now, I realize that the whole ordeal changed me in ways I never expected. It's easy to get caught up in the betrayal, to feel broken and angry, but I've learned to see it as a wake-up call. Lisa's cheating wasn't just about the affair itself. It was about her exposing her true character, and in doing so, revealing how much I had been blinded by love and trust. That secret room, that hidden sex space, was the physical symbol of everything hidden beneath the surface. It was like peeling back layers of a lie I'd been living. Getting out of that marriage was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was also the best decision I could have made for myself. I learned that some people are better at lying than you realize, and their bitchy attitude is often just a shield for guilt or selfishness. I also learned to trust my instincts again, to listen to the little voice that tells you when something's off. Because if I had paid attention early on, maybe I could have avoided the heartbreak. But even with all the pain, I'm grateful for the clarity. Now I see the world and relationships in a different light. Most importantly, I've come to accept that not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever, especially not those who betray you so deeply. The pain of losing what I thought was forever was intense, but it forced me to reevaluate what I want and deserve. I no longer chase after some picture-perfect fairy tale. I focus on what's real and honest. Trust is hard to regain once it's broken, but I know I'll find it again someday, just not with someone like Lisa. Today, I'm rebuilding my life piece by piece. I still have scars, but I also have a new sense of resilience. I'm more cautious, more aware, but also more hopeful. That betrayal taught me not to settle for anything less than honesty, respect, and genuine love. It's a lesson I won't forget, and one I hope others will learn from too. Because in the end, the most valuable thing you can have in any relationship is trust. Without it, everything else crumbles. And I'm not going to let anyone take that away from me again.